Michael Dermer here. In this lesson, we're going to talk about what does it mean to have a plan, right? A lot of times people say that, but they don't actually know what it means when they're starting a business. So let's get into it. So what does it mean to have a plan? You know, you might be at a dinner party, right, or your PTA meeting, and you might be telling somebody about your business idea. And you give them a couple minutes on it, and they go, wow, I think that's a really cool idea. And they say something like, so what's your plan? And you go, oh, don't worry, I got one. And then you kind of go back and say, well, what does that really mean? What does it really mean to have a plan for your business, okay? When you have a plan, it really breaks down into three big pieces, okay? First is what you'd call your strategic plan, right? Now you may be saying to yourself, well, it's just me and I'm starting my own event marketing company, or it's just me and I'm developing a fashion line, or it's just me and I'm writing an app. But what your strategic plan is really trying to do is to set your strategy, right? What is the strategy that's going to make you different, right? Anybody can go and create another flower shop that just looks like the next one, but are we going to be successful if we don't have a different strategy, okay? I'll give you an example from my old business. We were doing incentive programs for lots of banks on our technology. So we had 50 incentive programs for this particular bank, and we said, hey, listen, we're doing it for all these different branches. Why not we go to corporate and tell them we're doing it for all these different branches, right? And when we went to corporate, they said, you know what? We don't really care what the branches do, right? And then we read an article that said a lot of times in bank branches, managers used to give away incentives to people on the fly, and they weren't taxing people for them. So we went back and called that very same people at corporate and said, you realize you're giving out incentives that nobody's taxing? And that became our strategy, okay? So your strategic plan really tries to set you apart. So then you've got this strategy, and then you say, okay, great. What is the other part of my plan? Well, the other part of your plan is your financial plan, right? That is, how am I going to bring in revenue? What expenses do I have to try to drive that revenue? And what other financing do I potentially need to actually get my plan going, right? So I need to know what are the financial components of my plan. And that normally boils down into what they call financial statements, right? And this may be old hat to some of you, and it may be very new to others. There's three basic financial statements. One is what's called your income statement. It's sometimes also called your profit and loss. It basically talks about the revenue or sales you're going to generate and the expenses that you're going to spend, right? And it puts all of that on one financial statement. That's called your income statement. Next is your balance sheet. Your balance sheet shows what assets do you have, okay? So if you're an individual, your balance sheet might show the house that you owned, okay? Right? And last is your cash flow statement. Your cash flow statement shows what money is coming in and what money is coming out to run your business, okay? So all of those three things together form your financial plan, okay? So we've got our strategic plan, we've got our financial plan, and then last, we've got what we call our operating plan. Well, what does that mean? It means I've got a strategy, I've got my financial goals that I want to hit. I want to have this amount of revenue or sales, I want to have this amount of expenses, but how do I actually operationalize that, right? How do I actually, bring that to life, right? So let's say, for example, I'm a doctor, and I'm opening a new doctor's office, right? And I say, okay, I've got my strategy. I'm going to stand out from the crowd this way, and I've got my numbers that I think I want to hit. How do I operationalize that, right? I actually need a plan that says, how do I get an office? How do I get an office administrator, right? How do I make sure we're checking patients in and out? You operationalize your strategy and your financial plan by boiling it down into very specific goals you're going to achieve, tasks you're to do, and assigning roles and responsibilities to people, okay? So when you're first starting your business, right, you create a business plan, okay? And it's broad and it talks about a whole different things. When you get down into running your business, you're really creating a plan that has these three components: your strategy, your financial plan, and your operating plan, okay? And you bring all those three things together, and it will really give you a much greater chance of success. And remember, in addition to this video, we've got detailed information written out for you on this topic, side by side with this video.